Social media is something of a fast food culture. We get fast food chunks of information. We open Twitter in the morning and we have 3 or 4 or 5 links, and we jump through and we open and we have a look to see what's what, and we read the first paragraph of every link and we flag the rest of it for later on so we can read it when we get home. The problem is, by the end of the day, we've got so many tabs open. Social media is fun, but it is not nutritious. Yeah? It is not giving us the value we require. It is giving us information that is an inch deep and a mile wide. So I decided to challenge myself a few weeks back. I thought, what if I made content? Something that I wanted to enjoy again. And I thought, how am I going to do that? How am I going to create time? So I went on a holiday. The only thing that I did is I stopped Twitter and Facebook for a week. I did that. I then went on again. So I came back on the Tuesday night. I drove home. I got all excited, like genuinely excited. Oh my God, I'm going to open Twitter again. Yay. Yeah. I got home to my house. I literally got my food, put it on a tray, climbed into bed, opened my laptop, turned it on, opened Twitter, and thought, yeah. It wasn't quite the climax that I hoped for. Now here's the funny thing. In the week that I took off, I still had time to do things. I still wanted to look at stuff. So you know what I did? I read a book. It was awesome. Yeah? I read a book. I read some articles. I opened news services like Pulse on my phone, and I actually read through proper articles, and I made note of things I wanted to save. I opened To Do, the application I use for managing my to-do list, and I clipped it. I got from inbox 500 to inbox 0. It was the best, most productive week of my life. And I learned 4 things this week, and I want to take you through what they are. The first thing was this, is that this shit is addictive. Yeah? The second thing I realized is you didn't miss me. Not one fucker noticed that I was gone for a week. The other thing is, and this was a bit more shocking that I found out when I opened it up again, is I realized that I didn't miss you. Yeah? And the final thing was that I had to close the app. And what I found now that I've gone back to, so I limit myself to 4 social media checks a day. And I found it was almost impossible to do that if I kept the app open. If you have push notifications coming to your phone, if you have the Twitter app open, if you have it in the title bar, that thing will steal attention. Social media steals your attention from all the shit you need to get done because it is so compelling to draw you in there. So those are the 4 things that I realized. And then I realized about the people that are friends with me, the guys who are close to me. These people I saw anyway, so I didn't even lose a social interaction. Yeah? This is not social. That is noise. Yeah, social is what you do when you actually converse with people. So the word social at the beginning of social media is a little bit of a con or a misdirection there. Yeah? Social media is the solitaire of our generation. Unless you are working on the Cerebro desk handling a Vodacom client's query under the name of @Vodacom, you're not working. You're skiving and you're getting around work, you're playing solitaire. Admit it, and you're happy. Right, so social networks are broken. Or perhaps it's better to say that they're not working properly. They are stealing attention, stealing time, they're not building the relationships that they perhaps could do. And I wanted to think a bit about why that was. What is causing it to happen? Because social networks may be broken, but they're very, very popular. The problem is we're trying to diverge our networks. We're trying to diverge networks everywhere. Social networks are diverging, but our social footprint needs to converge. The information about me is not disparate. The information about me exists. It's always together. It's just got to be separated for different contexts that we exist within. Let me explain it to you this way. Facebook is an island. Okay? Facebook is an island by itself. It's an island of information about you. It can every now and then bridge some of that information elsewhere by cross-linking, but usually what it does is it teleports it to other islands. Other islands like Twitter. Yeah? Twitter is an island. Twitter is an information, it's a medium. The information that exists about me there exists there. It can be aggregated, but it exists on Twitter. LinkedIn is another island. What we've basically done is we've created the great social archipelago. Yeah? We've created a range of islands that are all separated. And it amazes me when I look at that, because what I see is people trying to build fancier islands every day when what we need is a better boat. We don't need more islands. We don't need more social networks. We don't need more ways to have our information disappear. What we need is a better way to link everything. And the only way to do that is to retain the ownership ourselves, to bring back the ownership of the information and make it lie with us. This is how your networks look currently. These are the islands I'm referring to. What we need to do is we need to have information like this. This is the network of the future. Why is this network of the future? Because this is almost exactly how your brain works. Yeah? Your brain has a bunch of neurons, existing information, and it does not compartmentalize information. Your brain understands the context of which it exists within at any given time and knows where to pull and draw only the right information from you. Only the information that you need at that moment in time. And that's what you're drawing upon. So we need to find a way to create this network, this underpinning network of information. What I'm saying is we need one data set that is utilized across divergent networks. We need a social operating system, an operating system that exists for all the social context we have. Now, for a long time I thought that was Facebook, but I realized it's not. The application can't be the operating system as well. It doesn't function like that. Facebook is yes, trying to link information, is trying to do things, but it can't own everything because other people are still trying to compete with it, so we need an underlying layer. The other problem is this: although Facebook has lots of apps and lots of things you can do with it, we have a fundamental problem of the way that we process information, the way that we choose things. As consumers, we want choice, but we want it among brands, not within them. We do want choice amongst networks, not within the network. We don't want everything to exist within Facebook. Facebook has tried that. They've tried offering us Twitter-like ways of doing things, but we don't want it. Now, it got me thinking that then, who would offer us the right solution? And the obvious choice would have been Google. Surely Google can create us this underlying platform, this platform for which all of our information can exist upon. That would have made sense to me. And it made sense right up until this morning when I saw Nick Haralambous' tweet that spoke about Google+. And I thought, shit, they've done it and they've preempted my talk and now I look like I'm just... But they didn't do it. This is Google+. I would like to congratulate Google for building another island. That is all they've done. They've managed to try and build another island that is fundamentally the same as the Facebook island, that simply is wrapped in a different way. So who else can offer a solution? Well, then I thought maybe Apple. And you know what? I think they could do it. We must shift our thinking from contact to context. The future of this is not going to be about contacts. It's not going to be about personal relationships you have with different people. It's going to be about contexts. It's going to be about things, moments in time that bring us together. Then I found a service like Fancy. Now here's the beautiful thing about the Fancy and contexts. Is at the Fancy, let's say you go on there. Now I went on last night, I had a look at different things. What you see there is an iPhone 4 cover that is an old school calculator at the back. So old school calculator that actually works and it's an iPhone 4 cover. I thought that was pretty cool, so I fancied it. Now, what happened is at that point, it took me to the page and all it showed me in a very Amazon-like way is the last 10 people that fancied that item and the last 4 things that each of those people fancied. So, I have one thing in common with all those individuals. The only thing in common I have is I like an iPhone case that has a calculator at the back. But they say there could be something there. So I had to look through the different ones and I found another guy. And he's got a stormtrooper holding a laptop cable. And I thought that's pretty cool. So I went on to there and I saw this thing and I fancied that. And I said, you can buy all of these things. And I thought, okay, that's pretty rad, that's nice. And then I clicked down further and I found somebody else had linked to a full-size Death Star Lego set. I thought that's phenomenawesome, yeah? So now I'm starting shopping. Now each and every one of these networks is somebody different. We don't exist. At one moment in time, that person clicked that link, and at another moment in time, I clicked that link. Our paths crossed once, but the crossing had value. I love this. I love the fact that these relationships could exist in a place and this information could help me out even though we have no actual connection. Amazon has done this very well, of course, with their recommendation engine, but it doesn't do it for the social web. It only does it for Amazon. And I want to find this model for everything. I want to create that recommendation model of people that I've never met, that I never know anything about, that we have one thing in common. So, Foursquare. All of a sudden, Foursquare, though, has built up this huge database of places. And I found that a recommended restaurant near me was Doppio Zero. So I decided, well, that's where I want to go, and let me see how the food is. Now, I see at the bottom there's a thing that says 6 tips here. So, for example, he liked calamari pizza. I don't like calamari, so that wasn't going to help me. And then I found somebody near the bottom, and that person said, best cheesecake ever. Now, here's the thing. That person's name is Amanda. I've never met Amanda. I don't know Amanda. I don't know anything about Amanda. Amanda is not one of my closest friends in the world ever. who's also on that list. But if I had to choose to order something as a lover of cheesecake, whose advice am I going to take? The man I would trust with my entire life, or some woman I've never met before? The woman I've never met before. If I walk into a restaurant and she says it's the best cheesecake ever, I'm not going to have a vanilla latte, I'm going to order the fucking cheesecake. Because I like cheesecake. And at that moment in time, at that context, she is a more powerful link to me. So I want to paint this scenario for you about how I kind of see this thing panning out. Imagine in 2011 sometime I head off to Tokyo. And I go into Tokyo and I go into a sushi restaurant. Now I don't like seafood, but I love sushi, so I'll order an avomaki. And I taste this thing and it is the best avomaki I've ever had in my life. And I jump into whatever network I'm using, any one of the networks. It could be Yelp, it could be Foursquare, it could be Koala, it could be Facebook, it could be anything, it could be my blog. And I write that this restaurant in Tokyo is the best avomaki I have ever tasted in my life. And a few weeks after, another guy walked into that restaurant. This guy's name was Sven, and Sven was from Norway. And he arrived there, and he also doesn't like sushi with fish. He likes avomaki. He ordered it, and he thought it was amazing. Now all of a sudden, the system understands that these two guys have a link. They have a link that they like avomaki at this particular restaurant. And 2 weeks before I arrive in New York, he goes into Sbarro, and he tries the 3-cheese sausage pizza from Sbarro, and he writes about how phenomenal that thing is. I want to know that if we are that similar, if we have that much in common, I want to know that when I walk into Sbarro that day, despite the fact that I have no physical contact or connection with this guy ever, I want it to pop up and tell me that I need to try the 3-cheese sausage pizza. Because it knows. It needs to aggregate every bit of information that has happened on every system, on every service, and on every network, and it needs to find me what is similar to me. If we can start getting that information, if we can start using that information, now here's the problem. The networks won't share it. The networks won't give it, they will keep it. That is why Google made a mistake by creating a challenger to Facebook, something that challenges it instead of something that underpins it. Because if you can underpin the services, then you have power to distribute information to each one of those ones where it's relevant and eventually serve contextual relevant results to people. And I think that my hypothesis is that this is what we will see happening. Information that exists and adapts around any different place. And I think when we have that, we're able to transcend the limitations of our networks, because our networks are limited. Networks of the future are networks of strangers. You can go through life being connected to somebody in everything you do. Yeah, there are people out there that like the same music, food, restaurants, movies, everything as you do, and you never meet them. But you can gain from them. We can have intelligent systems that draw on the information about them, that pull us together, that occasionally connect us in moments in time, in a recommendation here, a referral there, and then dissipate again. And we can lie one day on our deathbed, knowing that we've retrieved or achieved huge amounts of value from this network, even though there's not a single person on that network that we may have met, or many, many people that we wouldn't have. And I think that's a beautiful thing, because as much as I like being part of this network with all of you guys today, I kind of believe that I'm losing out on a world of information, on a world of context, on a world of people that can make my life a better place. And I hope that what we can do is build an underlying social operating system that will allow us to find them. And if that happens, then we will create a connected culture. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much. I appreciate your time.